Hello, everyone. Good morning. So, our today's lesson is our major lecture in reading. Okay, so the reading subtest is the second subtest that you'll take on the date of your exam. And to do well, you have to understand the task types and develop strategies in reading quickly and efficiently. So, you will work in it under time pressure, and you're only given 1 hour to finish it. And that includes reading the questions and reading the passage and answering the questions as you read the passage. So all in all, it's 1 hour. Now let's talk about the difference between academic and general training. So the academic, it is required for the undergraduate or postgraduate study, and it is taken for professional reasons. On the other hand, general training, it's a vocational training program and not at degree level. It is also used by those who are applying for immigration purposes to English-speaking countries. So for the academic, there will be 3 long passages with a variety of questions using a number of task types. So the length is around 800 to 1,000. On the other hand, for the general training, there are 6 to 8 passages. So for the first section, there will be 2 or 3 short texts or several shorter texts. And for section 2, there are 2 texts. And for section 3, there is only 1 long text. So both would last for 60 minutes, I'm sorry. And then the number of questions is both 40. So how are we going to answer it? So for paper-based test, you will be tasked to transfer answers to an answer sheet, but there will be no extra time to allow it, unlike with listening. So listening, you're given 10 minutes to transfer your answers, the questionnaire in here. That's 60 minutes or 1 hour. That is for everything. So care should be taken when writing answers on the answer sheet, as poor spelling and grammar are penalized. So each question is worth 1 point. So this is the example for the reading passage. Diba? It's really long. I think this is for the academic. This one, on the other hand, is shorter compared to the first one that I've shown you. So this is for the general training. And then this is our answer sheet. So you have to write your answer within the given time. Okay, so there is paper-based and then there is computer-based. So what's the difference between the two? For paper-based, of course, you have to write your answers. You're going to use a paper-based questionnaire, and you will be using your 2B pencil to answer. For computer-based, of course, it's computer, and the result is faster. It would be given to you within I guess it's 3 to 5. Yes, it's 3 to 5 days. While the paper-based, they would deliver the result after 13 to 14 days. So 13 days, it will be sent to you. You could access it online, and then 14 days, it will arrive at your doorstep. It is sent to the address that you've written during your application for the exam. So this is how it would look like. Okay, so this is how you would answer it. There are 41 questions. And for the scores, as you see, the score for general training is lower compared to the academic. So before you get a 7, you have to have a score of 34 to 35 if you're taking general training. And for the academic, if you get a score of 30 to 32, that is automatically a 7. Okay, so what are the problems in the reading subtest? Well, there are long passages. I said it's 800 to 1,000 to 1,500 words. And if you're not used to doing it, you might develop some short attention span as you read it. and it could also result to poor comprehension and time limit, of course, because it is done under time pressure. But if you will look into it, it's a very easy exam because as you answer the questions, the passages are with you, so you could just look at it anytime. Unlike in school, no, in school we are not allowed to open our notes. It's already considered cheating, but in IELTS, you're allowed, no, to go back to it, to read it from time to time as you answer the questions. Now let's talk about the reading techniques. This is how to read fast and effectively, specifically, um, or especially that you are working under time pressure. So you will use several techniques. One is skimming through the passages. Skimming is fast reading. Thematic reading, to understand what you have read. Thematic reading is understanding the context or the overall meaning. And scanning for specific answers, or this is looking for words. And intensive reading or careful reading to understand the specific details. So all of those are important techniques that you have to apply in reading. So what is skimming? It is reading quickly to find main points. You have to concentrate on content words like nouns, verbs, instead of articles and prepositions. Because articles like a, and, the, and prepositions like in, on, at, they're very short words. You focus on the main words. You skip those because what you're employing is fast reading. It gives you the idea how the information in the text is organized. In Filipino, we can skim read 100 words in 20 seconds. In the exam, aim to skim read or to fast read 100 words in 30 seconds. So in a minute, if you could finish 100 words, in a minute you could finish how many? 200 words. So now let's try this this technique called scheming. So using a timer, skim read the text to get the general idea of what it is about. After 30 seconds, jump to the start of the next paragraph. So you have to time yourself for 30 seconds and see how far can you go. And then after that, you're going to count the number of words that you have finished reading. And that would be your reading speed. Okay, another one. Okay, so how effectively did you skim? Without looking at the passage, try to remember whether this information was near the beginning, in the middle, or near the end. So where did you see this? A comparison of children now and in the past. Is it at the beginning, in the middle, or near the end? How about the different hypotheses for the changes in weight and the list of factors that brought about changes in our diet? Where did we find this? Okay, now let's continue. Let's talk about thematic reading, another technique. This is global understanding, trying to understand the overall meaning. Sometimes you may be asked to question a question that focuses on the whole reading passage. This type of question may ask you to choose a suitable title for the passage. Which title would be the most suitable for the reading passage? And you will choose among the options. Which of the following describes the writer's tone in the passage? Another style is, or another technique is scanning. This is searching. Searching a text quickly for a specific piece of information. So you have to be fast. You have to move from left to right, up and down until you find the word that you're looking for. Okay, now let's try it. Okay, so choose no more than two words and or a number from the passage. Which of the artifacts mentioned are the oldest? When was the material henshaw wood found originally made? So this is an example of scheming. You have to scheme using the clues that you found or the keywords. Okay. So task types. Questions are in the same order as the information in the text. So multiple choice, identifying. You have to identify the information or the writer's views. We have matching, matching information to headings, features, sentence endings, and we have completion, sentence completion, note completion, summary or table, flowchart completion, or diagram. And then there are also short answer questions. Okay, so here is an example of a multiple choice question. The direction says, choose one answer from alternatives or choose two answers from alternatives. All you have to do is follow the instruction. So you need to answer a question or complete a statement. Questions are in the same order as ideas in the text. They may refer to a small part of the text or a long section of it. Last question may refer to text as whole. In ABCD, there is never more than one correct answer. So, how are we going to deal with it? You have to read the question or incomplete statement and then the options. So, read the questions first before reading the options. Locate the part of the text where the information can be found and reread all four options and choose the correct answer. So be careful. Incorrect options may use similar words from the passage, but they will be clearly wrong. So it's important that you truly understand, that you fully understand the meaning of what you're reading. So this is an example. According to the paragraph, what point do linguists have different views on? Different views on, and then you have to choose among the options. You can try it. Okay, so it has another presentation, incomplete sentence. So the writer mentions rainforests and the ozone layer. Okay, and then you have to complete it. Is it A, B, C, or D? Okay, and then we have another one, 5 option or 7 option. So there are several options and you have to choose two of the following benefits. So which two of the following benefits are said to arise from the use of environmental psychology when planning buildings? Then you have to choose what the instruction is telling you to, or the number of answers that the instruction is telling you about. So read questions carefully, then read options. You may underline important words. Scan text, locate the part where you can find the information. You only need two, so don't keep checking if you have found the two answers you're sure of. The options may be close together in the text, and there may be some parts you may not need to look. So write the letters of your answers. And we also have questions like identifying information, whether it's true, false, or not given, or identifying the writer's views, claims, whether it's um, a yes, a no, or it's a not given. So the difference is you write true, false, or not given if you're talking about facts. If you're talking about the writer's opinion, you write yes, no, or not given. So read statement and identify whether the information agrees or contradicts with the text, or if there is no information about it in the text. So if it agrees, it's a yes, or it's a true. But if it contradicts, if it opposes, then it's a false or a no. And upon reading and you did not see that information in the text, then it's a not given. So statements are in the same order as a text. Always read the instructions. Sometimes it's hard to decide if it's true or false because sometimes it's not completely true or it's not completely false. So what is the answer? The answer is not given if it's not completely true and not completely false, then it's a not given. So our action plan is read the statement and underline keywords. Always underline keywords. Read the part of the text where the information can be found. Carefully decide whether it is true, false, or not given, and repeat for the other statements. So try to locate the information from the question, try to find it in the passage. Once you found it, you're going to compare. Does it agree? Does the statement in the passage agree with what is on the question? If yes, then it's a true. If they're synonymous with each other, then it's a true. If they're contradicting each other, if they're opposing each other, it's a false. If it's not completely true, not completely false, I mean, what is read in the question, or if it's not completely true, based on what you read from the passage, or not completely false based on what you read from the passage as well, then it's not given. Okay, so here is our example. Chiles come from South America. Chiles originate in South America and have been eaten for at least 9,500 years. So they have the same idea, although they have different words, different ideas, but still consistent. Another one, you're not allowed to cook food on open fires. The lighting of fire is strictly prohibited. Oh, they are just the same. Another one, another example of a false or two opposing ideas from the question, or from the question, the statement is the society proposed by Plato in the Republic is democratic, while upon reading the passage you found information saying that Plato's Republic, written around 2,500 years ago, which is also partly a political manifesto proposing a form of government where philosophers, kings rule in the interest of the many, in its day, this most undemocratic proposal. Democratic versus undemocratic. They are opposing each other. It's a false. They're contradicting each other. One says democratic, the other one says undemocratic. Another one, university employees do not need to pay for their parking permits. Versus when you find it in the passage, you found something which says members of staff who have paid the requisite fee and display the appropriate permit may bring a vehicle into the grounds. Okay, so they may bring their vehicles into the grounds. So what is the answer? Okay, sabi dito, do not need to pay for their parking permits versus staff have paid their requisite fee and display the appropriate permit may bring a vehicle into the ground. So they are opposing each other. The statement says they do not have to pay. The passage says after they paid for the requisite fee, it means that they are tasked to pay, so they're opposing each other. It's a false. Another one. The most common problem for holidaymakers is crowded airports. When asked exactly what the reasons were for their dissatisfaction, top of the list was flight delays. Okay, most common problem was crowded airports versus flight delays. False. No, no, they're inconsistent. They're not saying the same thing. Roger Federer has always played an attacking game of tennis, has always played. Let's see. Roger Federer, a man who many regard as the greatest player of all time, may have begun his career as an attacking all court player, but in latter years, he has been forced to become a more defensively oriented player who chooses his time to attack more carefully. Always played on attacking versus defensively oriented player who chooses his time to attack more carefully. It's inconsistent. They are saying two different things. One says always played an attacking game versus um, defensively oriented player who chooses his time to attack more carefully. So it's a false. Then we have another example. It's not given. So let's see. South Americans were the first people to start eating chilies versus chilies originated in South America and have been eaten for at least 9,500 years. It's not mentioned whether they're the first people to consume it. Okay, so it's not given. The entrance to the campsite is locked after 10 p.m. Don't make any noise after 10 o'clock at night or before 7:30 in the morning. It's not mentioned as well that it is locked. It is just mentioned that they should avoid making any noise after 10 o'clock. But whether it's still locked or open, it's not mentioned. So it's not given. Another one, Beethoven's Symphony Number 3 was inspired by a famous man. In 1804, only weeks after Napoleon proclaimed himself emperor, Beethoven debuted his Symphony Number 3 in Napoleon's honor, inspired by a famous man versus Napoleon's honor. Although Napoleon is a famous man, but um it's not we're not really sure about it, so it's not given. Okay, so we have more examples. Now let's proceed to the next one, matching or locating, classifying information, or choosing answer from a list. So paragraphs are labeled. You will be provided with statements which focuses on specific details from the paragraph. Find which paragraph contains the information or the answer may be in one phrase or sentence or more than one sentence. So this is an example. Which paragraph contains the following information? Write the correct letter. Diba, as you saw earlier, label yung paragraph natin. No, isang paragraph labeled as, or isang passage, and then there are several paragraphs which are labeled. So, ang task dito is you have to identify, sabi dito, which paragraph contains the following information. Did you see it in paragraph A, B, C, D, or kung hanggang saan man yan? So, an insect that proves the superiority of natural intelligence over artificial intelligence. Where can we find it? Robots being able to benefit from their mistakes. So, our approach is look at the title of the paragraph, read the questions quickly, skim the text. Read the question carefully and find the part of the text that contains the information. Write the letter of your answer and check the paragraph again to make sure the answer has exactly the same information as the question. So some paragraphs may contain the answer to more than one question, and some paragraphs may not contain answers at all. So you have to be extra careful. So here is our example. Okay, so this is another presentation. Look at the excerpt from a reading passage and the list of facts about hummingbirds that follow, which three of the facts are mentioned in the passage. For each fact you identify, underline the sentence or phrase in the paragraph where you found it. Okay. So for matching headings, remember that paragraphs are marked alphabetically. List of headings are usually identified with lowercase Roman numerals. Okay, Roman numerals. Ayan. Always more headings than there are paragraphs or sections so that some headings will not be used. Possible that some paragraphs or sections may not be included in the task. One or more paragraphs or sections may already be matched with a heading as an example for test takers. So, may example din at times. Okay, so here is an example. You're going to choose the correct heading for A to G from the list of the headings below. So these are the paragraphs, and your answer should be the heading which is appropriate for paragraph A or B or C. Okay, so pick a heading, find keywords. Okay, so there are two types, the equal and unequal choices. For the equal, you have to pick a heading and you find the keywords. For the unequal, quickly read the headings. Find the paragraph that discusses the keywords. So keyword, remember keyword is paraphrased, like heterogeny. The paraphrase is variety, diversity, a wide array, a diverse range. And then for those with unequal choices, quickly read the headings, read the paragraph, understand what it contains. Now, with a better understanding, pick the best heading. Tips: sometimes the paragraph does not discuss the whole topic and the information is just mentioned in a few sentences. And if you're not sure with the answer in a paragraph, do the rest of the task to limit your choices. Unahin, no, yung pinakamahihirap, yung madadali. Unahin yung madadali. Yung matira, probably it would be easier na to identify the correct answer kasi iilan na lang naman sila na pagpipilian. So, unahin natin gamitin yung madadali. Always read the instructions. This is different from which paragraph contains the information. So, here are the practices that you could work with. Then we also have matching features or matching names. Example, look at the following people and the list of statements below. Match each person with the correct statement, A to E. Write the correct letter in boxes 21 to 23 on your answer sheet. So you're going to match these names to these statements. So how are we going to do it? Look at the list of names, find them in the text, and underline them. For each name, read all the things that the person says. For each name, choose the statement which matches one of the things they say. Kasi that the name, no, it can never be changed na, so we could use it as our keyword. So matching sentence endings. You have to read the first halves of some sentences. These are in the same order as the information in the text, so the information relating to the first half sentence will be found in the text before the information relating to the second half sentence and so on. Choose the ending for each half sentence from a number of options so that the complete sentence correctly expresses an idea or opinion in the text. So this is our example. Okay, so what should we do? We have to complete sentences with words taken from the text. Instructions will make it clear how many words or numbers can be written. Sometimes it would say, write your answer using one word only, or write your answer using not more than 3 words. So it's important that we follow the instruction. Numbers can be written using figures or words. Contracted words will not be tested. Hyphenated words count as single words. The questions are in the same order as the information in the passage. Sunod-sunod rin naman siya. Then we have sentence completion. So this is how it would look like. Example is, choose no more than 2 words from the passage for each answer. Write your answer in boxes 25 and 26 on your answer sheet. The students from England suggested that the Scottish students should identify their blank to identify. So our action plan for this question type is look at the instructions. Read any heading found before the questions. Read the questions, underline keywords, decide what kind of words you need. The sentences follow the order or information in the text. Find the part of the text you need for each one. Find the words which fit the gaps and copy it exactly. Read the questions again with the answer and make sure it makes sense. Okay, now let's have an example. Again, the instruction says choose one word from the passage for each answer. Marie Curie's research on radioactivity. So, when uranium was discovered to be radioactive, Marie Curie found that the element called blank had the same property. Find Now you try to find the correct answer for this. So, this is an example of note completion. Okay. Then we also have notes, summary, table, flowchart completion. So complete with a missing word or phrase from the text. The number of words required will always be given. So this is how it would look like. May mga blank. Okay, and then you have to find it from the passage. Be mindful of the instruction. If it says choose one word only, then don't go beyond that. Okay, so another example ito. Yan. Then we have complete the summary or summary completion. Choose the letter of the correct answer. They're almost the same din naman. It's just that dito, my options. Then we have labeling a diagram. So diagram labeling requires you to understand a detailed description and relate it to information in the diagram. This task is often found where the text is concerned with a process or a description of something. So you have to scan the text to find specific information. Find one, two, or three words or a number in the text which complete each sentences or notes and copy them into the gaps. If you spell the words wrongly, you will lose marks. Ayan, then you have to label it. You might tell me, but ma'am, I'm not an engineer. I'm not into this lever-based device, but it's okay. Everything's in there. Just have to read it, just try to understand it. So our test strategy, check how many words you can write, study the diagram and try to understand generally what is happening. Highlight keywords or labels, identify the types of words required and try to predict the answer. Scan the text and identify where the information is located. And read in more detail to find the answer. So the answers do not always come in the same order that the paragraphs are in. Do the easiest questions first. You are more likely to get this correct. If you cannot find the answer to a difficult question, move on and come back later. So ayan, this is an example of that question type. Then we have short answer questions. Most likely to be used with a text that contains a lot of factual information and detail. Write answers using words from the text. Questions will be in the form of questions, WH questions. Instructions will make it clear how many words or numbers the taker should take. Okay, then we have short answer questions. Choose no more than 2 words from the passage. So, ayun. Look at the instructions to find out how many words you can write. So dito, no more than 2 words. Read the question. Circle the question, words, and the keywords to determine the kind of answer you need to give. Use the WH questions. Scan the passage. Look for keywords found in the question. So the tips, practice trick timing, easy versus difficult, asterisks to mark those items which you are not yet sure of your answer. So you could put some marks to tell yourself that you have to go back there, you have to answer it for sure, no? Pagbalik nyo, alam nyo na ang tamang sagot. Number of words in the instruction, no more than 1 word, no more than 2 words or 3 words, hyphenated word, like long term or short term. Rely on what you read and ignore what you already know about the topic. So, study tips, look online or find out if your local library has copies of international newspapers and magazines. Read the education, health, or science section of newspapers such as the Times, the Guardians, the Australian, the New Zealand Herald, the New York, and the Washington Post for reports on academic studies. Study tips to achieve the best IELTS score, focus on learning vocabulary, grammar, and building your reading, writing, listening, speaking skills as a part of your presentation. Don't just focus on test-taking strategy. So, ang sabi nga nila, kung ang pagpunta sa gym, it's the workout for your body to be in shape, no? Reading daw naman, this is the workout for our brain para maging strong din siya. So, now let's proceed. Okay. Um, for a moment. Okay. Okay, moving forward. In the test room, don't panic if you don't know anything about the topic of the text. All the answers will be in the passage. You don't need any specialist knowledge. Everything is in there, even if you're not familiar with the question. Leave a question if you can't answer it. Come back to it later if you have time, and if you really can't find the answer, guess. You don't lose marks for wrong answers. Remember that unlike in the listening test, you have no extra time to transfer your answers. Careless mistakes cost marks. Make sure you copy the answer correctly if it is in the passage and check your spelling. Okay, so in the weeks leading up to your IELTS test, try to read as widely as possible. Don't limit yourself to one type of text. And if you're preparing for IELTS academic, read articles with an academic style. On the right are 3 newspaper sites you might like to try. So here, as you read, practice developing the skills you will need in IELTS, such as summarizing the content, giving headings to paragraphs, deciding what is fact and what is opinion, and thinking of synonyms for words you see in the text. Okay, so after this lecture, do not be in a hurry to take the exam. Take it when you are ready. So your score in reading is one of the best indicator of your readiness because your reading comprehension is your foundation in all subtests, in all macro skills of English. Because all subtests would require your understanding of written text, be it speaking or writing or listening or reading. It all intends reading comprehension. So make this your first and last IELTS. Read, read, and read. Before booking an exam, answer practice tests. After answering, review your wrong answers before answering another one. Okay, so don't just settle for, mali ang sagot ko. Next time, ayusin ko na. No, no. Mali ang sagot ko. I'll try to figure out why am I wrong? What should be the correct answer? How am I gonna get it? So, laging ganun yung attitude, no? Hindi tayo mag-end sa, okay na, next time na lang, no? You have to find a way to resolve it, to make it right. In that way, your ability to um, find the correct answer would be strengthened. When answering practice tests, refer to your transmutation table for the corresponding band score of your raw score. So, this is all for our reading major lecture. Tomorrow, our schedule is listening and reading practice test. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending our online class. I hope to see you soon during our face to face classes. Thank you.